I would now like to welcome to the floor our next speaker, Dr. 𝐁𝐢𝐭𝐲, founder and CEO of 𝐁finity Precision Medicine, who will be speaking to us about personalized optimization of NAD and health via laboratory testing. Dr. 𝐁𝐲, very nice to have you back with us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Franco. And so I'm going to give a non-academic, non-professional talk today because I just quit my professor position, so I can spend more time with my company, 𝐁finity Precision Medicine. In 𝐁finity, we develop innovative biomarkers that are actionable, so our customers can use the information to optimize the health and improve their healthy longevity. Today, I'm going to focus on one of the biomarkers tests that we have developed in 𝐁finity. I hope at the end of the talk, you will agree with me that NAD is probably one of the most important, if not the most important molecules in terms of managing health and longevity. So what is NAD? Well, the molecular structure is shown here on the slide. It's a small molecule, very simple, but it has many, many different functions because NAD is a coenzyme that's essential to life and is found in every single cell of living things. The enzyme is very important, or the coenzyme is very important for the function of over 400 enzymes. You can imagine why this molecule may play a very important function in everything in life. And these enzymes include some of the very important ones that are very important for longevity. These are the 𝐁𝐤𝐴𝐬𝐷, the PAPs, and the CD38, and so on. So what are the most important functions of NAD? Most people know that NAD facilitates the hydrogen transfer. You can see the two forms of NAD, NAD plus and NADH on the right of this slide. And the only difference is the hydrogen on these two molecules. So the hydrogen transfer is very important for the production of cellular energy in terms of ATP. And this is required for several of the energy production processes, including glycolysis, the Krebs cycles, and oxidative phosphorylation. So without NAD, you wouldn't be able to produce ATP, and we wouldn't live for very, very long. Some people believe we may not live longer than a few seconds, but maybe at least we will not be able to live for very, very long if we don't have NAD in our cells. If you look at the hallmarks of aging that many people talk about, I'm not really a big fan of the hallmarks because I think it's a good starting point. It does not address all the issues. But if you look at the 9 best-known hallmarks of aging, almost every single one involves NAD. And because over 400 enzymes are involved, require NAD for their function. So you can imagine many of these important biological processes do require NAD to function properly. The most important ones are listed on the left, and NAD is involved in DNA damage repair, in oxidative stress, in inflammation, cellular senescence, nutrient sensing. It's important for supporting immune health, to protect the brain function, improve glucose intolerance, insulin sensitivity, and on and on. So you can read the slides probably faster than I can read. The bottom line is NAD plays such an important role in all biological processes, and therefore it's also very important for anti-aging or to improve our longevity. The second main reason why NAD is so important is that NAD is believed to decline with age, although the data are not very abundant in the literature. On the right side, I have shown you some data that are generated in Gfinity, where you can see the level of intracellular NAD on the y-axis, and on the x-axis you see different age groups. I actually cannot see the right one is hidden by the picture. So if you look at the very young adolescents from 10 to 20 years of age, the 25th percentile of intracellular NAD level is around 34 micromole, and that goes down to about 26, 27 micromole in the 20 to 30 years old, and when you reach 30 to 35 years, that goes down to about 22 micromole, and when you go to the above the 50s, I cannot see the number on my screen. It's probably around 20 micromole or so, maybe 22. So these data are from hundreds of individuals that we have analyzed. And this is I believe, the best evidence showing an age-dependent decline of NAD in the human population. Now, this decline in NAD is also associated with the loss of function and the vitality, and is related to many age-related diseases. Many of these issues are mainly related to the sirtuins that require NAD for their activation. So there are two different types of NAD that you may want to be aware of. And if you look at the location of the NAD molecule, and so most people talk about NAD that's inside of the cells when they talk about NAD. And this is what I call intracellular NAD. We actually trademarked this term. And intracellular NAD is found inside of the cells. The level is relatively high, and in most people it's between 20 to 50 micromole. I have a typo here. And the most of the functions we'll talk about in the previous slides are attributable to the intracellular NAD, because that's what has been studied the most. But there is also NAD that's secreted from inside of the cells to the circulation, into the plasma. And this is what I call the circulating NAD. Circulating NAD is not very often talked about, and you may or may not have heard of it, but these NAD molecules found in the plasma circulate all over the body. They play potentially very important roles because NAD can serve as a ligand, and they are NAD receptors on certain cell types, especially neuronal cells and the immune cells. So as a ligand, NAD can bind to its receptor on the cell surface and then initiate a cascade of molecular events. And these molecular events can play extremely important functions in the cells and in our health, especially in many of the neurological diseases and neurological functions. And so there are a number of factors that can determine your NAD levels, and I have listed 4 of the most important ones. First of all, NAD is made from building blocks or precursors, and there are quite a few precursors that are on the market. the most famous ones are listed here. These are NMN, NR, or nicotinamide, and NAD can be de novo synthesized from amino acid tryptophan. So when we don't have enough building blocks, we certainly are not able to make sufficient NAD. And the second factor is there are several enzymes that are required to make the NAD molecule, and these enzymes can be deficient or suboptimal in many individuals, especially when we age. The third factor is what I call NAD degrading enzymes. And these are enzymes or proteins that require NAD as substrate for their function. And the most important ones are CD38, that has attracted a lot of attention recently. The PARP enzymes that are involved in DNA repair, and the sirtuins that play central roles in longevity. And especially CD38, because it is very abundant, it's present on the cell surface, and it's also present in the plasma. You can degrade the NAD quite rapidly and efficiently. And finally, secretion from cells into the circulation could be a very important contributing factor. You may have very high levels of NAD inside of your cells, but they may or may not be secreted into the plasma. So that can be a very important factor in determining whether someone has deficiencies or suboptimal levels of NAD in the plasma. So when it comes down to each person, you could be deficient in one or multiple of these pathways. So every person is different. That's why we need really a personalized approach in optimizing our NAD levels. There are multiple intervention strategies to optimize NAD levels, and the most popular ones are supplementation with precursors, and that's becoming quite popular recently. And you can also use supplements or nutraceuticals to increase the enzymes that can make NAD. And there are companies that are making and selling those supplements. And the third way to optimize your NAD is to inhibit the NAD degrading enzymes, such as the CD38 inhibitors, and like apigenin or 𝐶𝐶. And they can be effective, especially for circulating NAD. Now, NAD IV infusion it has been very popular for many years, and it's becoming increasingly popular. And whether what the IV infusion can or cannot do is a very important topic. And I do have a lot of data, but I'm not going to have time to go into those details today. I think you do need to know whether the IV infusion that you consider is serving the purpose for what you want to achieve. So I'll leave it at that for today. It's very important that we test in order to optimize the NAD level. And so in order to optimize, we need to know the optimum range, and we need to define that. We also need to worry about the potential toxicity. If you get your NAD levels to a very high level, that's not normally seen in the physiological conditions. And that's especially a concern when we talk about IV infusion, because you are putting a node of pure NAD into your blood. And these are the issues that have not been dealt with yet in our community. I think that those are very important. And testing before and after intervention is essential, and for you to know whether whatever you are trying to do is working or not, and whether you are at the optimum level. So NAD testing is very important. I don't think anyone would argue with me. But why NAD testing is so difficult? Why, we are the only company who is providing a NAD test that's available to consumers. There are primarily two reasons. The first one is NAD is not a very stable molecule. If the samples are not handled properly, and you can degrade very quickly. And secondly, most of the testing methodologies that are available use very expensive, high-end equipment that are usually not very reproducible, not very high throughput. So these are the two main reasons. At Ginfinity, we're able to overcome both of these issues through extensive research. And we have developed and we're offering two different types of NAD tests. One for circulating NAD in the plasma. And as you can see on the right, our assay is extremely reproducible. And you see a correlation plot between duplicated tests. And our R-square value is 0.97. Our average CV is 3%. And we do all tests in duplicate. So your CV is about 1.5% on average. So the test works very, very well and is very stable. We also offer an intracellular NAD test, which is very easy. It's available worldwide. And the samples are collected on a filter paper that's used for newborn screening, and it's shown over here. So you basically do a finger prick, apply the blood on the filter paper. After a couple of hours, when it's dry, you apply a NAD fixing buffer to stabilize the NAD. You ship it back to us, and we will get it done, get it measured for you within a few days. So a lot of people ask me, what's the optimum range for NAD? I get this question a lot, so I want to address it here. So this is a very difficult question to answer. For the moment, I think the best thing that I can do is to take the distribution in a young age population. Here we are taking adolescents over 10 to 20 years old. And I'm taking the 25th percentile that we see in teenagers. So what it means is the 25th percentile means that 75% of the individuals have the levels. And here, the 25th percentile is at 34 micromole. So 75% of teenagers have an NAD level equal or greater than 34 micromole. So I take this value as the lower end of the optimum range. We can debate about this, but I think this is a very good starting point. We have not been able to define the upper limit of the optimum range. And my personal belief is you probably don't want to get it over 100 micromole, because over 100 micromole is not very often seen in any person in a natural way without supplementation or NAD management. So I want to show you two examples that how we were able to increase the NAD level through precursor supplementation. Now this is this data I actually from my babysitter. She's 68 years old, and her starting NAD level was around 21 micromole or so. And then we tried a few different products on the market. It really didn't do a whole lot. And this one may increase a little bit, 10%, 15%. It doesn't do very much. Remember, we want the level to be above 34 micromole, above here. Then we started using another NAD booster that I cannot really disclose. And we got her level to over 100 micromole, 120 micromole. And that was great, was interesting. But since then, I don't want her to get a level to above 100 micromole, and we decrease the dosage, and now her level is right around 50, 60 micromole. And so with the testing, we can really help you to choose the brand, the type of supplement, and the dosage to get your NAD level to a level that you want, that you choose. And we can really do that through testing. Here, this is my data from me personally. I have been testing myself from over a year ago. I started quite low. I'm 59 years old. I started around the 15 micromole. That's not shown here. And then I started managing it with this particular supplement. I was able to gradually get my level to over 40 micromole. And then I stopped taking the supplement. You can see the level comes down gradually. Once I get it to below 34, I said stop it. I want to start taking supplement again. And I increased my dose. My level went up even more. I stopped it again to wash out so I can test a different supplement. And this is another supplement I tested. I got it to about 50 to 60 micromole. And so that's kind of where the sweet spot, I think, for me. And we are able to maintain this level pretty much, at the age. But you have to do it through testing, obviously. So, those are two cases that worked very well. So how about at the population level? So we tested hundreds of individuals before and after. As you can see, for most of the individuals, we were able to get their level to a very good range. Some are really high, but there are always a percentage of customers that cannot get their NAD to the optimum range the first time. So this is about 30% of the individuals. And they are taking different supplements, different approaches. And these are the individuals that need to change the types of supplement or the dosage, and what they actually need different approaches. There are a few individuals who have levels over 150. I have one person who got it to 250 micromole, and he works for a supplement company, and he wants to see how high he can get it to. 250 micromole is the world record, at least as far as I know. So I want to leave with this slide. I think if you really want to manage your NAD or manage your health, personalization is really the key. You really have to personalize. In order to personalize, you have to test, and then you have to take a personalized intervention. And after the intervention, you have to retest it again. So this testing, personalized intervention, retesting paradigm is so critical. I cannot emphasize more if we really want to have good efficacy, good outcome. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. We will have to experiment with ourselves, but now I think there are more and more tools available. There are more and more biomarkers available for you to really guide you and use a scientific approach to manage your health and manage your longevity. And I think I'll stop here, and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ghee. I really appreciated the broader scope nature of your presentation today in comparison to the one you gave during our last biomarkers conference, though both were equally insightful. So thank you so much. Anybody who has questions for Dr. Ghee can pop them in the Q&A box below. We'll try and address them during the panel discussion.